Following a massive ICE raid at a Hyundai plant in Georgia, officials say roughly 450 undocumented migrants were apprehended. Now, Thursday's raid was carried out by multiple state and federal law enforcement agencies, including ICE, the FBI, and the Georgia State Patrol. I want to bring in CNN's Ellabell Rosales, who's been monitoring this. So, Ellabell, what is the latest this morning?
Omar, good morning. With more than 450 people apprehended, this marks what appears to be one of the largest ICE raids at a single site in the 22-year history of this agency. Now, here's what we know. This happened at the Hyundai Metaplant site. This is in Ellabell, Georgia. This is just 25 miles or so west of Savannah. And according to the Associated Press, this raid stopped construction of this factory that's being built to produce batteries for electric vehicles. This same site, this same project, this was touted by Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp, who called it the largest economic development site in the state's history. Now, we have video that we're showing in pieces here of masked and armed agents there at the site, giving out orders while officers raided the facility. We can also see workers here in hard hats and vests. They were lined up as this was ongoing. On site was ICE, Georgia State Patrol, FBI, DEA, ATF. They were executing, Omar, a search warrant that DHS says is part of an ongoing criminal investigation into this, quote, allegations of unlawful employment practices and other serious federal crimes. They're saying that this sends a clear and unequivocal message, too, that they're taking this very serious. And here is the special agent in charge, what he had to say about this raid.
We are making many arrests of undocumented individuals. We have encountered many lawful employees working here, United States citizens and lawful permanent residents, and they are, of course, being released.
Meanwhile, Hyundai says it is cooperating with law enforcement, saying this: we are committed to abiding by labor and immigration regulations. And meanwhile, Omar, on this same day, hundreds of miles away in upstate New York, another large raid at a work site. Dozens of workers at a family-owned plant that makes nutrition bars were also apprehended during an ICE raid. CNN affiliate WSTM reports that about 60 workers were detained. New York's governor condemned this raid, saying it doesn't make their streets safer. And the owner of that nutrition plant told the New York Times that the workers had legal documentation to work in the U.S., calling this ICE raid a, quote, overkill. Omar.
Well, Ellabell, thank you for bringing us those details. The scale.
A couple months ago, the One Big Beautiful Bill was passed, and it will provide law enforcement such as ICE $75 billion of funding throughout 4 years. And $45 billion of that money will most likely be going to detention center throughout the country, because the government is planning on building detention center to be able to hold and detain a lot of illegal immigrants. And the $30 billion will basically be to track, to arrest, and to deport illegal immigrants that are coming here illegally, and to track them down, and to also provide campaign to be able to gain information about where they're located. Previous government did not fund the ICE agency a lot because to them, it wasn't a priority in their agenda. And when you ask a lot of ICE agent or a Border Patrol agent, they will tell you the reason why they cannot do their job effectively was because they did not have enough funding. And now President Donald Trump is providing them enough funding. Now they have the ability to hire over 10,000 new agents that will be able to basically continue with this operation that we're seeing. It will provide them with more bonuses, a higher salary to just motivate them to do what they're doing. And recently, we have seen a lot of protests that have been going on because a lot of people are not happy about this, especially in cities such as Los Angeles, cities such as New York. When you take a look at cities like Los Angeles, there has been a lot of protests that have been going on because a lot of people are not happy about the ICE raid that been going on, because Los Angeles also has a huge Hispanic community. It has a huge Hispanic population that will feel the impact of this. Many of them have family members who came here years spend a lot of time in the United States, been working in the United States mostly under the table, and now this ICE raid is coming in, and it will have an impact on how they operate and how they work. So when you look at the protest, it got violence at some point where the president also sent in a National Guard to be able to basically calm down the violence. But what stood out to me a lot more was the fact that I was seeing a lot of foreign flag being waved in the protest. You know, we're here in the United States, but when you see a foreign flag being waved in a protest, it's kind of concerning because, especially if the protests become violent, because it just leads you to ask a lot of questions. Is this protest being funded by the foreign country Secret Service? Because we've seen in the past where other countries will utilize protests to be able to try to overthrow some kind of government. I'm not saying this is the case for this, but the fact that you're seeing a lot of foreign flag being waved and people are just becoming more violent is concerning, especially as an American, because this type of behavior, you will not see it in any other country, especially if the protests become more violent. So we're seeing a lot of protests happening throughout major cities in the United States, and we're seeing a lot of raids that have been going on. We see a lot of ICE agent raiding farm, they're raiding restaurant, they're raiding warehouses, and it got to the point where a lot of all these business owners were concerned because a lot of the workers were not showing up, and this is messing up with their bottom line and their profit. So recently, there was just a massive ICE crackdown on illegal immigrant in a warehouse in Georgia, and this is a Hyundai warehouse, and they captured around 450 detainees. This is a little concerning because now it leads me to ask a couple questions, because does these workers also have a work permit to work in a warehouse? Because it's obvious that they're working for a huge corporation such as Hyundai, and now they're being detained because they're considered illegal immigrant. I'm assuming that they came to that job with some legal document to work, because there's a lot of people here in the United States who have overstayed their visa, but they have work permit, which they have to renew either every 1 year or 2 years, depending on where you are in the States. So I'm just questioning all this, like, were they legally able to work in the United States and they probably just overstayed their visa? I don't know, but the way it looks like they were probably just checking everybody's document to make sure that everybody's legal and to make sure that there's nobody over there that is working illegally. And I'm assuming since they're working in a huge corporation in a state such as Georgia, they're working for a warehouse that has around 450 workers. I'm assuming that most of these workers had a legal document, and some of them probably just had to fix a couple of their visa issues and things like that. But I really think this will be a common thing throughout the nation. I just recently heard that even Boston, they're going to be having a massive ICE crackdown in a lot of warehouses. I'm seeing it also in Philly, in New York City, and now you're seeing a lot of people are just, concerned about this because they feel like ICE is basically overstepping their boundaries. But with the funding that they just received for the next 4 years, this is what we're going to be seeing, because that's a lot of money. It gives them more access, it gives them more tools, it gives them more ability to be able to just crack down on illegal immigrant. So this is a little concerning, since this is already a news that been already put out publicly. A lot of people will be concerned, especially the ones who are illegal. They should be smart how they're walking, how they're operating, because the government will come and get you. So let me know what you guys think in the comment.